Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. I hope everybody's having a very good day. Hope everybody is having a fantastic little day. How is everyone doing? Hope everyone is all right. Hope everyone is all right and wonderful. It's going to be just me tonight. So, for all those who are here because they want to see somebody else, I'm here to disappoint you. And David cannot join me because he has some weird excuses. I don't know. And then other people, nobody else wants to be seen with me, so therefore, so stupid. I thought I didn't think of inviting anybody else again because I just wanted to go through this very quickly, through the horrible news that are going around today. It's been really pissing me off, this today. Since yesterday, there has been lots of since the last week, there has been lots of bad stuff going on in the southern parts of Syria, and yesterday and then this morning there was a lot of really bad news, and it seems that there is not enough of an outcry going on. In fact, I'm just remembering that I made a very, very nasty tweet an hour ago. I'm seeing that only right now because I just made it because I was really, really angry, and then I completely forgot that I made it, but now I'm going back and seeing it. So uh, excuse my language here, but I said F those Gaza genocide bastards who haven't said a single thing about a real full-blown genocide in Syria. Um, I thought I would maybe later delete this, but I forgot that I posted it. But that's really how I feel. And so here is the thing. For those who are not aware, there has been really massive violence going on against certain people, against certain minorities in the southern part of Syria, in the Suwaida governorate, which is a southern part of Syria. To be to have it, let's just put it right here. Let's just put it right here. So here is Suwaida, which is a city and region in the southern part here of Syria, as you can see, and quite close to Jordan, quite close to Israel, relatively. And in this region, I already talked about this yesterday when I made a live stream about this with Mansour Ashkar, who is himself a Druze person. In this region, there is a very big Druze community. In fact, when you check the demographics, you'll see that the inhabitants of the city are mainly Druze with small Greek Orthodox Christians and Sunni Muslim minorities. Bedouin Sunni Muslims live in the neighborhoods of Al Makwas and Al Harubi. So there are some neighborhoods where there are Sunni Muslim Bedouins in this region, but it's mainly populated by the Druze, who are like 90%, and then by a Christian Orthodox Christian minority. These people are living here. They are trying to simply survive and live in peace. But as a series of events, the Islamists under the current Islamic government of Syria, under Jolani, and certain Bedouin tribes together have been brutally attacking and killing the Druze that are here in this area, and have also been attacking the Christians. The Jews have been quite open about it, which is we are being brutally attacked and genocided. We have seen many videos, and I want to show just a little bit of a glimpse of what is happening. I don't want to show too much of what is going on there, but I'm going to go into number one, a declaration, a statement made by the Greek Orthodox authorities or leaders in this region, because this is how I started the day today. As the news were coming out of what is happening here, first off, there was this announcement made by the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese that is in charge of this region. They made it in multiple languages. They published it in Arabic, in French, in Spanish, and also in English. So we can just read the English here. This is directly from the Orthodox Christians in that region. It says, to our brothers and sisters in humanity, in Suwaida Governorate, where more than 300,000 families currently live, people are suffering from suffocation. There is no water, no electricity, no medicine, and no food. A humanitarian catastrophe is unfolding before us. Open humanitarian crossings. Contribute to ending this blockade. We remain steadfast on this mountain until the end, asking the Lord for swift relief. Issued by the Archdiocese of Bosra, Hauran, Jabal al-Arab, and the Golan for the Greek Orthodox. There is another additional statement. So they are posting pictures of them taking care of people going in there, trying to take care of those who are seeking shelter. Then there is another one made later on, which I believe is part of. I have it saved somewhere, but the page is just all over the place. So here's another statement. Here's another statement which says, statement issued by the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate of Antioch and all the East. For days now, before the eyes of the entire world, violence has been afflicting our people in Suwaida. For days, attempts at resolution and calming the situation have been ongoing to no avail. What is happening in Suwaida disgraces humanity. Since the outbreak of the recent events, Patriarch John X has been closely monitoring the situation on the ground through direct and continuous communication with Metropolitan Antonius Sad and so. They're also following His Beauty is also following the situation through contacts with all local authorities and communities in the area and its surroundings, foremost among them the Sheikh al-Aql of the Druze community in Lebanon. So the Christians here are crying out and asking for help and reporting directly with the solidarity of the Druze, who are the main people who are being targeted and attacked here by the Islamists. The Greek Orthodox Patriarchate of Antioch and all the East joins its voice with the voices of the wise of this world to call for an end to the bloodshed in Suwaida and commends regional and international mediation efforts to put an end to these massacres that target the coexistence of all communities. I have to say something very, very important here. So here is the very, very crucial part. It says we commend the regional and international mediation efforts to put an end to these massacres. There is one entity, one side that is being included here and that they are talking about when they say those who who are engaged in mediation efforts to put an end to these massacres. Can anybody guess who they're talking about primarily here? Who are they positively talking about here without mentioning them? Can anybody guess? Can anybody guess which group that is not involved in the Islamist versus Druze and Christian fighting, which group or which entity or which people are actually actively trying to help the oppressed there and are trying to step in and mediate? Which country, which group is that? Which group are they talking about? Can anybody guess? Yeah, I see some people said it. Yafit Doron says it. IDF, Israel. Yes, it is Israel. It is Israel. It is Israel. Israel is the only country, and like it or not, Israel is the only country during this entire thing here that has stepped in and repeatedly told the Syrian government to protect the Druze and the minorities in the south, to prevent them from being killed, from being oppressed. They have repeatedly said to the new Syrian government, step in and protect these people, or else we will protect them, and we will also hit you. They haven't done it. They not only failed to protect the Jews and the Christians, they also, it is proven, their government forces, the Jolani's Islamic government forces, directly sent their own soldiers who also participated in the massacres of the Jews and the Christians here. The only nation here that stepped in is Israel. And why do you guys think Israel is not mentioned here in this announcement? While they are very clearly giving a shout out and thanking Israel for helping, Why do you guys think that they are not explicitly mentioning Israel? It's very clear. It's because they are scared. There is something very lots of people don't understand this. Lots of people who are not aware of the dynamics of the Middle East do not really get this, but these guys are aware that Israel is the only one that is actually stepping in and trying to prevent the massacre here, but they can't say it, because if they say it, it will only fuel, and it will only give an excuse to the Islamists, who will then use this and say, they are collaborating with the Jews, with Israel, with the Zionists. Look, they are evil, they are traitors, and so on. They will use this as an excuse to further engage in massacres, because that's how it is. Meanwhile, while these guys are only receiving help from Israel, which is, as we speak, trying to strike and bomb Syrian government forces and Bedouin forces, and directly trying to bomb them to prevent them from going and killing people. Meanwhile, online, you have lots of people going around and talking trash about Israel. I'm sorry, where are the Christian nations of the world? Where are all the people of the world? The only nation that is here helping right now, is Israel. That's what's happening. Meanwhile, online and in the world, where we're being told about fake genocides, about fake suffering, about all the bad stuff that Israel is doing. Meanwhile, go and watch the videos if you have the heart to it. You see brutal suffering inflicted upon young and old, on civilians, on everybody in Syria at the hands of the Islamists. So I posted about this earlier today. Here is the bishop of the Archdiocese of Bosra, Haran, Syria, which is the southern part where people are suffering here. So here's the Arabic text. I had it translated here. It says, "Glory to God in all things. I direct this message to the entire world and call upon them to urgently intervene to stop the terrorist massacres in Suwaida. I direct this humanitarian plea to those of sound minds who love peace. The ongoing war in Suwaida Governorate is a war of annihilation, killing both young and old. Therefore, I raise my voice loudly to the international community and to the United Nations to help us. I hope this cry reaches the whole world." Issued by the Archdiocese of Bosra, Haran, Jabal al-Arab, and the Golan Greek Orthodox. You can hear, you can feel, you can read, you can hear the despair here. I direct this humanitarian plea to those of sound minds who love peace. The ongoing war in Soweto Governorate is a war of annihilation, killing both young and old. Therefore, I raise my voice loudly to the international community and to the United Nations to help us. I hope this cry reaches the whole world. What is happening here is in Suwaida, in the south of Syria, the Christians here are only secondary in being targeted. The primary people that are being targeted here are the Druze, and the Druze are peaceful people. They don't do anything to anybody. This is why Christians are happily living by their sides in their governorate. The Druze in this place are just want to survive, want to exist, want to cut themselves off from the Islamic garbage that is roaming around in Syria and that is repeatedly turning the country into full turmoil. The Jews simply want to exist, and they want to take their own security measures so that they can prevent being massacred. And the Christians are by their side. Primarily the Druze are being killed. They're being massacred. They're being massacred in hundreds here by the Islamists. And the Christians are also being targeted. The Christians are also being brutally killed here. You have really, really messed up things like, I don't know what's wrong with this video. I had difficulty viewing this earlier today. But this is a video and maybe it's good that it's not playing. It's a video in which you can see that these Islamists go into a home of the Jews in Syria, which they have invaded, and they have 3 people here. 3 people. Somebody, here 3 people. One, I think 2 doctors or 2 engineers and 1 doctor, regular civilians. They are forcing them to step on the balcony and to jump off into their deaths. To jump from the balcony to their deaths. As they hesitate, they start firing at them, forcing them to jump down and to die. And once they land down there, they take a look, take a quick photo, and say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, because that's what Allah likes. That's what Allah likes. That's what Allah loves. Allah loves bloodshed. Allah loves hate. Allah loves oppression. Allah loves murder. Allah is an evil whore of a God who loves these things. That's what He is. Allah comes from the sick mind of the rapist Muhammad, of the murderer, rapist, bastard Muhammad. This is what Allah likes. This is what Allah loves seeing. This religion of piss that is doing this wherever it goes. Here you have a woman from Syria, a Druze woman.
يا سوريين اقسم بالله نحن كلنا نشوف دمنا حرام عليكم يعني نحن عارفين انه انتم خايفين على نفسكم بس نحن عارفين انه في ناس كثير معنا وانتم بتعرفوا شو عم يصير بالسويدة مثل ما صار بالساحل تماما فأرجوكم ما تخافوا أرجوكم تطلعوا تحكوا قريتي ما رح أحكي اسمها خوفا أنا خايفة يعني حتى خايفة إنه أحكي شو اسمها عم نزل قصيفة جنب بيتنا بالأرض من شان الله تطلعوا تحكوا ما في نت عند الناس ما في كهرباء ما في شي أقسم بالله حرام عليكم والله العظيم اللي عم يصير فينا يعني ما بعرف أنا متربطة مو عارفة شو أحكي والناس عم تقول لي أنتي صوتك واصل صوتنا نحن كلنا أصلا مش واصل يعني خفيفة تنزل جنب بيتنا حرام عليكم من شان الله وصلوا شو عم يصير عم ينزلوا عليهم قذف هاون ما بعرف عم يقصفوا عليهم قصف عشوائي على جميع البيوت ما في نت ما في كهرباء ما في مي ما في أكل ما في شي والله حرام عليكم أنا
I'm talking about this repeatedly because of what she just said here. And I have been talking about this and have been following and sharing others to talk about this for quite a while now because what she just said here, she said, you are saying our voice reaches the world, but it's not reaching anything. We are waiting here, nothing is happening. I made a post this morning about the Christians, about the Christians asking for help in despair. Yeah, lots of people saw it. It has over 10,000 likes now. Lots of people have shared it. Lots of people have drawn attention to it. Very good, very nice, very, very, very good. And I want to do that more and more. I want people to see it. I want people to step in. The media is reporting. That that the sides agreed to a ceasefire. Let's see. The media say that they're agreeing to a ceasefire. However, there is a ceasefire that was apparently mediated by America and Israel with Syria, and over 12, 13, 14 hours ago, the media reported that there is a ceasefire now. I'm telling you, right now, as we speak, the fighting still continues. The media reports that there is a ceasefire now, and people are like, oh, okay, good, ceasefire reached. I'm telling you right now, the fighting still continues for multiple different reasons. Reason number one is the Islamist Syrian government is a government of evil bastards. They are two-faced two-faced Islamists. They will act as if they care about the minorities, but their own militia, their own people go and engage in the oppression. That's number one. Meanwhile, Giuliani is acting like he's all for peace and for coexistence and all that. His own people are going and killing the Druze and the Christians there. Reason number two is that Giuliani, even if he wants to put an end to this, the Islamist, he doesn't even have full control over his Islamist goons, his Islamist bastards who engage in the killing. The last report that came from the media here. Clashes rage in Druze region as Syria struggles to enforce ceasefire. Now, first off, I don't really believe that they actually struggle. I'm pretty sure that much of it is deliberate. They don't really care about enforcing the ceasefire. They just want to give the world the impression that they are trying to do a ceasefire. But the Islamist government of Syria, they're happy. They're probably happy that that minorities are being killed here. They're probably happy that the Jews and the Christians are being killed here. They're probably happy that churches are being burned. There are reports of churches being of people deliberately spreading notes and of word to attack not only Druze places, not only Druze people, but also churches, for example, and to seize the opportunity and rid Syria of minorities. This woman is crying out here. This girl is crying out. The media is reporting, oh yeah, clashes, ceasefire now. Meanwhile, this was reported 12 hours or more ago. Meanwhile, the fighting continues and more people are being killed. According to media reports, maybe 300, 400 people have been killed. Lots of people in the field say it is much more than just that. It's impossible to know right now. And Shirdan, I completely share your sentiment here, especially because these bastards keep talking about Israel while this is happening.
تبعت لي انه نزل قضيبي جنب البيت وبعدين ينقطع النت. يعني انتوا بس قدروا مشاعرنا مشان الله، كلنا وقفنا جنبكم كلكم يا جماعة. نحن وقفنا جنب الكل وقت مشاكل الساحل ووقت المسيحيين ووقت كل شيء. ما بحب احكي بالطائفية وبعمري ما كنت طائفية، بس حتى ما عارف شو عم احكي حاليا. بس ارجوكم ما تخافوا، وقفوا معنا دائما. سويدا وقفت معكم، وقفت مع الكل. ما بتعرفوا شو عم يصير، تضليل اعلامي كامل كله كذب، كل شيء عم بتشوفوه كذب.
What she said here is also crucial. There's a total media blackout, so you don't know what's really going on. There's a total media blackout, all lies. Everything you're seeing is lies. It's even worse than that. It's much more messed up than that. I've seen so many videos now directly filmed by the terrorists themselves. They're acting as just the way Hamas acted on October 7. The terrorists go and record themselves doing all kinds of atrocities, committing all kinds of evil on camera. They're recording themselves proudly shouting Allahu Akbar because they're evil bastard God. Love that kind of stuff. Okay, there is nothing graphic here, but here's the image. These are civilians. These are three regular civilians, Druze.
افتح الباب، افتح حالك بسرعة. يلا بسرعة. زت حالك، يلا يلا يلا. زت حالك على السريع. يلا. دقيقة. تصوروا يعني؟ تصوروا؟ يلا. يلا زت حالك. زت حالك ولاد على السوق. زت حالك. يلا. زت حالك ولاد. يلا.
They just shot one of them, and he jumped off the balcony. The two others are left. At this point, they're still hoping that this is not really going to happen, that something's going to happen, and they will, and they won't actually fall off. You could see that the guy was just shot as he was standing there. He was also shot. This is the new Syrian government. The people of the new Syrian government, the democratic Syrian government that were that fought for freedom against the oppressive Assad regime, right? That fought for freedom and for justice, for democracy, for all these things. This is these Islamist bastards, these Islamist animals, these filthy, disgusting, horrible animals shouting Allahu Akbar, praising their filthy Allah after committing such brutal atrocities. These are regular people. They go into their homes. They make them jump off the balcony. They force them to their deaths. They film it and they shout Allahu Akbar and they post it online on Telegram. But what about Israel? What about fuck you?
هلا حتى بطلوا يصوروا، يعني صاروا عم يقتلوا وينفذوا بجرائمهم واعداماتهم وبطلوا يصوروا من شان الله. اصلا ما ضل شبكي، ما في شبكه، قطعوا النت اصلا عن شامنا مشان ما يوصلوا صوتهم. من شان الله نشفت دموعنا، اقسم بالله نشفت دموعنا على اهلنا. فهموا شو عم يصير يعني. طبعا حكينا لاخواتنا اللي فيهم دم واللي فيه حس، مش للذباب الالكتروني اللي عم يهاجمونا، لانه انا متاكده انه في ناس كثير معنا، في ناس كثير حتى منكم اخواتنا السنه انتم معنا، انا بعرف هذا الشيء، بس انتم خايفين. ليش لا تخافوا من شان الله؟ ليش لا تخافوا؟ من مين خايفين؟ من مين؟ هذول مجرمين رح يقتلوكم بعدين، جايكم الدور كلكم، والله جايكم. ما تفكروا انه هذول الاوباش رح يرحموا حدا فينا اصلا. من شان الله عم نقلكم.
You have the spiritual leader of Syria's Jewish community, Hikmat al-Hijri, has issued an urgent plea to Trump, Netanyahu, Mohammed bin Salman, and King Abdullah II, urging them to intervene. So this is Saudi Arabia, and this is Jordan, urging them to intervene and protect the Jews of Suwaida from Julani's regime. We have multiple voices coming out of the Jewish community of Syria. One of them also is this one here. Now, he sounds very, very hyped up and all that, but this is just to give people context. Sheikh Marwan Kiwan, one of the most prominent Jewish figures in Suwaida, is calling for the annexation of Jabal ad-Druz to the state of Israel. So he's calling for Israel to step in and annex the southern part of Syria and make it part of Israel. These people are so fed up. They are so sick of Syria that he's calling for Israel to step in and annex them. You have multiple other people of the Jews saying it. You have Jews suggesting it. You have others suggesting it. I honestly don't think that annexing the place for Israel is a solution. I think that what? That is AI? That video was AI? Really? That one? The other one? With the guy speaking? I don't know if that's true. I have no idea. But I've seen sentiments like that from many Jews themselves. I'm in contact with a bunch of Jewish people who are basically calling for the same thing. But I wouldn't say that annexing the Jews part into Israel is a good solution, because I think it will only fuel more problems in the Middle East. I think that that one of the good solutions would be for world powers, foremost Israel, to step in and to make sure that the Druze territory becomes its own independent state, its own independent country. So once again, here is the governorate of Suwaida, which is mostly populated by Druze and secondarily by Christians. Here is a territory that is quite mixed. Here is Israel. So some people are suggesting that Israel should just take control of this region because Syria obviously can't take care of it and wants to engage in massacres. So I would say it would be it. I'm not really a fan of the idea. It's just also kind of like fueling this whole nonsense of, oh, Israel wants to annex the whole Middle East. Right, sure. I would say that this should become its own state. That the Druze and Christians should take over and should have their own little independent state here, and should kick out all the Islamists who can then keep fighting here. They can keep fighting up here, do whatever they want, kill each other, whatever it is, whatever they like to do for Allah, you know. I'm looking for things to show, but I'm just encountering beheadings and all that. Here is a Druze leader shouting.
يلا حيك يا شيخ يلا حيك الله.
Here's a sheikh leader appealing to the people, to the Muslims, telling them, your younger girls are our daughters, your older girls are our mothers, your blood is our blood, we are the same, we are brothers, please stop fighting, stop killing, and so on. But it didn't help. It didn't help. They killed hundreds. If not more. I'm getting right now updates that for the first time right now there seems to be some confirmation, but I'm going to ask how much there is truth to it. That the fighting has stopped in the city, and that certain people have been cleared out. So once we know more about that, then we can confirm that. But it's just never a solution. Even if there is a ceasefire right now, these people keep killing the minorities in Syria, and those minorities in Syria need the protection of other powers, other forces that can come in and help them. So somebody earlier asked, I wanted to mark that comment, but somebody earlier asked, didn't Israel support the Jolani government initially? So here's the thing. Israel did initially give a positive reaction to when Assad was removed. That's a fact. And I was also happy when Assad was removed. Assad was an evil bastard. But just because Assad was evil, that doesn't mean that the other side is good. Just because you support one side, that doesn't mean or just because you oppose or hate one side, that doesn't mean you support the other side. So they expressed relief when Assad was finally taken down. What Israel did do in the beginning is they expressed some hope that that now is an opportunity to move toward peace and unity and equality and democracy and all that in Syria. So Israel carefully expressed some hope. To be honest, I didn't like seeing that because David and I and many others never ever trusted anything that comes with Islamists attached to it. Jolani is an Islamist. His past is in Al Qaeda, terrorist organizations, and so on. he was part of Al Qaeda. He fought for Al Qaeda when Al Qaeda was at their worst. When Al Qaeda was committing atrocities. He split from Al Qaeda and started the whole HTS movement, not because he decided that Al Qaeda is bad, but rather because he decided that Al Qaeda has too much of a global universal caliphate mission, and HTS wanted to, instead of focusing on a global caliphate mission, focus more on just Syria for now. So the only reason that he stopped being part of Al Qaeda is that instead of working toward a caliphate, he wanted to work toward Islamism inside Syria only for now. Al Qaeda didn't like that and said, "Hey, this is not what we do. This is not how we do things. We're going to work toward a caliphate." And he said, "No, we're going to work toward Islamism only on a national scale for now." This is why he split from Al Qaeda. He didn't split from Al Qaeda. He didn't leave Al Qaeda because he thought, "Oh, okay, I'm no longer a terrorist. I'm no longer a bad guy. Al Qaeda is bad. They do really, really bad things. They kill civilians. They murder people. They do terrorist attacks and all that. I don't like that anymore. I'm no longer a terrorist. I want to be a good guy from now on." That's not why he left Al Qaeda. He left Al Qaeda because Al Qaeda had a universal mission and he wanted to focus on Syria only. He is still a terrorist. He's still an Islamist. So when he successfully, with the help of Turkey, it was Turkey that helped him, that helped the Islamists. When the Islamists successfully overthrew Assad, it gave people some relief that Assad is gone, because Assad was evil. But most of us never trusted Jolani and the Islamists for a second. And any attempt to, or any thought that it could be a transition to something peaceful, something good, is just vain. It's stupid. But of course, there is a political, diplomatic level on which you want to express such things without being completely cynical or skeptical or hostile like me. And Israel did express initially some feelings of maybe this is an opportunity for peace. But remember what Israel also did. It was all over the news. People were pissed again at Israel. What Israel also did is, as soon as Assad fell, Israel crossed the border into Syria and occupied a part of Syria and said, we are going to sit here and hold on to this for now until things are solved, until things are resolved. Here is the map. Let's have a look at it. No, I don't want to reshape any object. Get the hell out of here, man. So here is the map. Here is the map. And not to be confused with Daniel Kikachu, you can see that here is the map. And as soon as the Jolani forces, the Islamist terrorists, took over and overthrew the government, Israel came in through the Golan here and crossed the border, took some territory here, which was prior to this meant to be a safe zone where no terrorists or no armed forces are allowed. So they said, okay, we're going to step in and we're going to take control of this for now. And we're going to hold on to this until things settle properly. And they also started taking care of the Jews minorities here, because the Jews leaders asked them to it. Israel said, okay, we love the Jews. They're our brothers, and we will take care of you guys. So Israel began helping them and occupied this kind of stuff. But remember what Israel also did. As soon as Assad was overthrown, as soon as the Islamists took power here, Israel started bombing multiple places in Damascus and throughout Syria within reach to destroy as many ammunition facilities and as many military facilities as possible that could give the new Islamists a way to be a danger. So Israel directly went in and started massively and brutally taking out many military locations and facilities and capabilities of the new Islamist government. That's what Israel did. That was the first thing that Israel did. So Israel, while expressing some hope, also directly took matters into their own hands and started basically disabling any possible danger that the Islamist new government might pose on a larger regional scale. By the way, you can see updates here. Suwaida agreement. Humanitarian crossings opened between Daraa and Suwaida for the exit of civilians and the wounded. Since then, we have still seen fighting. The Ministry of Interior announced that all tribal fighters had been removed from the city of Suwaida and the fighting had ended. I don't really trust the Ministry of Interior. I still got reports just very, very recently. Still got reports that that there was fighting happening. So I'm really I'm going to ask a few people here what they think. I'm quickly going to ask a few people. Has the fighting really stopped? I'm just going to ask some people who are directly in touch with the local population to get some confirmations that the fighting has indeed stopped. Once we know more about that, we can go on. So yeah, Israel indeed initially expressed relief that Assad was removed, but they also carefully wanted to express some hope, but also took care of much of the military capabilities. But they also repeatedly warned Jolani and the new Islamist government to not endanger the minorities and especially not to harm the Jews. And as the Islamist government failed to do that, Israel just stepped in and started bombing them. And we've seen it. We have seen the media, how they reacted to it. We have seen how the media reacted to it when Israel stepped in. They said, "Oh, why is Israel attacking Syria now?" Filthy, filthy media. So yeah, that's what's up. Different strokes apology said. Paul says Suwaida is too far from Israel. Can't send platoons. Yeah. Unfortunately. Did Piers Morgan say anything about Syria? I doubt it. Did he? Let me see. Hang on. Hang on. Let me see. Hang on. Nope. Nothing about Syria. Nothing about Syria. There is one other event that I want to talk about that I have some problems with, which is an event that happened in Gaza a few days ago. Was it yesterday? Was it the day before? I'm going to talk about that in a second. In fact, I think a good way to do that would be to watch a video by Michael Knowles, because Michael Knowles just made a video about that. Or, in fact, to watch a video from the Catholics themselves. A Catholic church was damaged in Gaza. Was it yesterday? I'm losing track of time, and this last week has been kind of crazy. And this is also what pisses me off. There has been one church has been damaged. The one and only Catholic church has been damaged in Gaza, which you can see here. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, thank you for yesterday's live stream. That was my first time to be introduced to Mr. Mansour Ashkar. What a very outstanding human being, badass too. Yeah, he was an IDF officer. The guy is awesome, man. Love that guy. His channel is very, very good too. So we saw these news the other day, a few days ago, that so Israel says it deeply regrets deadly strike on only Catholic church in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called Pope Leo on Friday, the Vatican said. So here is a church. This is the Holy Family Catholic Church in Gaza, and several days ago we got news suddenly that that the church had been damaged. The church had been bombed, it was first said. Then the church had been destroyed, it was said. Then eventually the church was damaged by a tank shell, it was said. So far what we know is that a tank apparently fired a shell. According to IDF statements, the church was as a result hit by stray fire or by shrapnel or something like that, while others disputed. The Catholic authorities in the region said that Israel told them it was an accident, but we're not sure if that's really true, they said. But here is the thing: there are lots of questions about this. As you can see, we're talking about a tank firing and hitting this corner of the church building. They hit this corner of the church building, as a result of which the church suffered impact damage, and part of the roof collapsed, as a result of which the priest of the church, I think, who was injured, and 2 people died, I believe. Let me quickly see the updates on that. 3 people were killed and several others were injured, including the parish priest Gabriele Romanelli. That's what happened. So the first thing, of course, that I was wondering is, how in the world did a tank aim up there and fire at the corner of the roof of a church? What would be the point of this? So this is the thing. I don't understand what the point of this would be. And I'm trying to take all sides and all arguments and all scenarios into consideration. Contrary to what some people believe, a tank is not operated by just one person who can just do whatever he wants. A tank is operated by 4 different people here in this case. I believe. So the tank rolls. The tank relies on targets that are delivered to it by drones and other operatives that give the tank directions to fire. So within the tank, then there are 4 people. One is the person who loads the ammunition. One is the person who drives. One is the officer who communicates and confirms targets and gives the okay to fire. And the 4th person is the person who actually fires. So this is in this situation, I believe the tank would be operated by multiple different people, and in order for the tank to fire here into this direction, it wouldn't be just one person doing something wild and weird. It would have to be a chain of commands coming down and saying, "Okay, here, target, locked, fire." It's really weird to me that they would fire at the corner of the roof of a church. Why would they do that? It doesn't help Israel. It doesn't help IDF operations to fire at the corner of a church. If they wanted to deliberately cause damage or kill people here, it would be a very, very, very dumb target. If they wanted to actually harm a church building, and the only and very visible Catholic church building in Gaza, it would be a very dumb strategic move. Israel is trying their best right now to keep the support that they have with them, and to attack a church while Christians are the ones who mostly support them in the world. To do this would be an incredibly stupid strategic move. But then also, how do you accidentally do this? So Netanyahu said that that it was an accident, that this was not meant to happen. Netanyahu directly called the Pope and spoke to him. The Pope said that that he, through this call, also had the opportunity to ask Netanyahu for ceasefire and for an end to the war and all that. And the IDF also made an announcement and said that they are starting to investigate this case, and they will see what happened and will take necessary action. I think a Catholic priest was speaking on the Catholic channel yesterday and said that this is actually the first time that Netanyahu ever, immediately after an incident, came out and said, "We are going to investigate this and we take responsibility, and it wasn't meant to happen and we are sorry." He said something like, normally the response that people get is, "We will investigate this," and then there is nothing else afterwards, except that they investigate it, that they find certain wrongdoings and then take action, but don't say anything about it. This time, Netanyahu was tried very hard to speak to the Pope and express sorrow and all that. So the story is kind of really, really, really weird. It doesn't make sense. I'm following it, trying to find out more about it. However, here is the thing. There is one Catholic church in Gaza. This is the one Catholic church. The one Catholic church in Gaza was slightly damaged, which resulted in a collapse, which resulted in 3 deaths and 1 injury and several severe injuries. This is what riled up the world. what riled up so many people who started talking about how Israel is evil, Israel is the enemy, Israel hates Christians. Those very same people were very quiet when people were brutally massacred in Syria. Deliberately. Those people were very, very quiet when Islamists were going from home to home in Syria and brutally massacring and murdering people. Those people have been very quiet throughout this entire time with massacres going on. Those people have been very quiet when just a few days ago footage was published where Islamists actually walked through Suwaida, southern Syria, on their path of killing civilians and burned a church here. Those people were very quiet about all of this. Those people keep talking about Israel. Israel, which, by the way, is the only country that steps in here and deals with the Islamists that are trying to kill Druze and Christians. And this is what pisses me off. It's also kind of funny that Gaza only has very few Christians left. I think there are like a total of 200 Catholics left in Gaza or something. There are less than 1,000 Christians in Gaza. So when people sometimes go out and say Israel is killing Christians and all that nonsense, there are not even Christians left in Gaza. They sunk from over 3,000 several decades ago to less than 1,000, while the remaining population of Gaza, the Muslim population, exploded massively. Christians are diminishing. Islam is exploding. So it certainly doesn't have anything to do with the so-called oppression by the Zionists. In fact, if you want to know how the numbers of Christians are growing in Israel, they have grown really rapidly, and Israel is the only country in the Middle East where Christianity is actually growing. But people keep talking trash about Israel. It pisses me off to no end, man. Pray for the people of the Middle East. It's a very weird thing to say from me after 10 years of atheism. But pray for the people. Pray for all of them. All of them. All of them. Dennis Renson says Israel landed chopper in Suwaida with medical aid and 2,000 Israeli Druze army forces with armored vehicles and tanks are inbound to rescue. Mansour talked about it 1 hour ago. Still not confirmed 100%. Yeah, I saw also reports of the Times of Israel was reporting that Israel is preparing to send medical gear to Suwaida and so on. That's what they were saying. They are sending in a team there to defend the people of Suwaida from Islamists and to deliver medical equipment and all that, because Israel doesn't trust the Jilani government. Arctic-based, I wonder if the Pope will comment on this ongoing massacre, or is he still too devastated by the Gaza church incident? Hey, stop making fun of the Pope. Stop making fun of the Pope. Don't make fun of the Pope. Actually, I do wonder if... well... the last post was, I am deeply saddened to learn of the loss of life and injury caused by the military attack on the Holy Family Catholic Church in Gaza. I assure the parish community of my spiritual closeness. I commend the souls of the deceased to the loving mercy of Almighty God and pray for their families and the injured. I renew my call for an immediate ceasefire. Only dialogue and reconciliation can ensure enduring peace. I agree, only dialogue and reconciliation can ensure enduring peace, but not with the animals that are Hamas and their supporters. You have to do something to take care of the problem. It doesn't work this way. He didn't make another post about the Christians in Suwaida because they're not being attacked. They're not being confronted by Jews, so it doesn't matter. Phil Hami, no disrespect to the Pope. Don't attack me now, Catholics. I don't have a problem with Catholicism or with the Pope. Only with some Catholics here. Phil Hummy, in 2 Samuel 23, 8-39, we see the mighty men of David, Lord our God, send in the mighty men of Israel to help save lives. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Sargisian says, "Bless you, my brother. Thank you very much. I appreciate this. Appreciate it very much, and God bless you." A positive Allah. Can we stop saying Giuliani lost control? He wants this to happen. The man is still ISIS. The government of Syria is ISIS. Yep. I agree. Where's Piers Morgan, Tave Smith, Ducker, and all the very good and brave people? I bet this won't get them any likes. Yeah, it wouldn't be popular if they posted about this. So why would they? Why would they post about it? It wouldn't get them any likes. It wouldn't get wild retweets and all that. It wouldn't be very popular with their, with their Pakistani white nationalist audiences. K. Alifi, looks like Westerners were groomed to non-intervention policies by Qatari-bought influencers, so Islamists can get rid of all minorities with impunity. Yep, that's what they are doing. There's only one, the biggest problem that we have in the Middle East, and Middle East includes Europe by now, is Islam. That's the problem that you should be dealing with if you actually want to be pro-West and pro-Western values and pro-Christian values and traditional values and pro-freedom and all that. You should be dealing with that problem. Crusade when says Imno Legacy tomorrow, inshallah tomorrow. Arctic based, where's the UN? Where are the humanitarian NGOs and all the student protesters? Oh wait. They're busy, man. They're busy with Israel. Correct. And do you think this will ever stop if Giuliani stays in power? I think that Giuliani is the primary reason why these things are happening. So I think that it will not stop as long as he is in power, and he should be removed from power as soon as possible. In all honesty, you know what I really think? What I really think so when the incident happened in Gaza with the Catholic Church, my initial thoughts were, this is really messed up. Lord have mercy. This should not be happening. Israel should make sure this never happens again. But then my thoughts were also, all Christians should leave Gaza. All Christians should leave Palestinian territories. All Christians and other non-Muslim or non-Sunni minorities, I don't really care about the Shia, the actual 12 or Shia people, all the minorities should leave Muslim lands and work toward establishing their own states and entities in separatism within those territories, and make separate countries, or make a separate country without Islam. The Christians in Gaza should get out. They should not be in Gaza. There are less than 1,000 Christians left in. Why are they there? It's a war zone today. It has been a war zone for 40 years now. It was plagued by intifada, by suicide bombings, by Islamists firing rockets and all that. Why are Christians still there? If I was a Christian and I was living in Gaza, I wouldn't want my children to live there anymore. I wouldn't want to subject my family to the messed up stuff that is happening there. I also would not want to make it more difficult for Israel and others to properly operate in the region and to finish off the Islamists. Over 70% of the people there, presumably mostly the Muslim population, supported the actions of Hamas. If you're a Christian, you should just get out of there and get out of the way. Move somewhere else. Live among humans. Live among fully developed, peaceful humans. In fact, cross the border, and I'm sure there were multiple chances for that. Live in Israel. Live in Israel. Don't live in Gaza. Get the hell out of Gaza. I know, yeah, we are the people of this place. We want to live here and so on. Sure, yeah, totally cool. But for now, leave that place, live in Israel, live somewhere else. Or work together with Israel to find a political solution that includes not having to live together with Islamists. As for the people in Syria, the Jews and the Christians, they should not any longer be part of Muslim society. They should seek for their independence, have their independent territories, or move to some Christian territories. They shouldn't be living in Syria, in Islamic lands. Let the Islamists do whatever the hell they want to do in their zoo of civil wars and of killing each other. Let them do whatever the hell. I don't really care what happens to them. I don't really care what happens to those people. I care what happens to the minorities in these places or what happens to those people who just want to live in peace. I don't care about the Islamists who only want to fight and kill each other. Let them kill each other in their zoo. Let the Christians and others go and live somewhere else in peace. That's what I really think. So no, I don't really care if the civil war stops or not. What I do care is that all those who are Christians or others go somewhere else and get out of the way. Let them fight their civil wars. I don't give a damn. Holy Son said Syria was a Christian stronghold for centuries. Then unless you find the will and the power to proselytize and to change society and to turn those Muslims into Christians, do that. If you can't do that, get out. Do it somewhere else. Do it somewhere else. Or Christians unite and fight for a territory of only Christians and others. Forget about the international laws, forget about human rights, forget about everything. Make your country very specific in terms of demographics. No longer accept certain people of certain beliefs in your country. Same thing with Lebanon. You see what happened to Lebanon. It was once a blooming, wonderful country in the Middle East. It was compared to Paris. Beirut was compared to Paris, which is kind of funny because Paris nowadays looks like Beirut. Lebanon was compared to Switzerland. And then the demographics changed and the Islamists took over. Look what it is now. It is at the bottom of lists of happiest countries in the world. It sucks to live there. Thank you, really appreciate that. Maybe remind Mr. Wilson and the other author bros that this is why we must support Israel, or this happens to them too. All MENA Christians know this. They care too much about only Christians in America. They don't care about Christians in the Middle East, unfortunately. Vic Third, I heard that casualties are around 7,000. I saw some big numbers, but I know that some people were talking about some very, very big numbers, but I don't know how much that is true. We will see. I just hope that I wake up tomorrow and I no longer and I see that the fighting actually has stopped. If we see more fighting and more killing here, I don't know what to say, man. Charles Lister, by far the best overview of current complex events. Important to also recognize that both sides have committed atrocities. Jews have burned and beheaded Bedouins and civilians. Paul, I think that church picture is 2021 reverse search. No, the one with the Catholic Church is from the other day. Aren't there Christians in the IDF? Maybe they shot the tank from a long way away. Yeah, there are Christians. There are quite a few Christians. In fact, somebody earlier made a funny point, which is that there are more Christians in the IDF than there are Catholics in Gaza. So, Timothy Freeman, peace be with you, apostate prophet of Ellen, patriarch Pizzabala will call on the hospitaliers of Al-Zut, the Islamists. Where's my mate, David Woodzi? David is traveling somewhere. I don't know what he's doing. Blue Moon, let's say a church was hit and destroyed completely. Why would Israel target it for fun? Does the line that cannot be crossed is a church? Is that Jesus teaching? Do anything but touch my building, remove Israel, all Jews now? Yeah, it's kind of a silly thing. I really want to find out what exactly happened there. Like this would be This is a very sensitive matter, because when I first saw the news, I thought to myself, if it turns out that the IDF says, or that Israel says, they had to bomb it because of terrorist presence inside the church or something like that, I would condemn this, very honestly. Maybe I wouldn't have condemned this half a year ago. I would condemn this today. I would say, I don't care who is in the church. It shouldn't be bombed. It shouldn't be harmed, ever. Ever. That's the only place that you should be leaving, that you should not target in Gaza. If Israel said something like that, like there was people were firing missiles from there, or there was a terrorist inside the church, therefore we had to target it, or something like that, I would say that's something I can't support, and I would have to call it out. Such a thing did not happen, however. It was said that it's an accident. So the whole church thing is something that would cross a line for me, especially if it hurts people that are hiding inside the church. That said, I think that the Christians should get out of Gaza. There are less than 1,000 left. What are you still doing there? Ash Mays, thanks for supporting Israel for obvious reasons, but don't be so naive as to think there aren't any in the IDF that wouldn't do this maliciously. Of course, there are people in every entity. I know you say this as a Jewish person, Ash Mays. Of course, there are malicious people in every place. I mean, look, I believe today that Christianity is the most moral way of life, the most moral way of living. That said, the Bible also says that that no one is righteous, that the world is wicked, and that also includes Christians, right? It also includes Christians. It also includes Jews, Israel. It includes everybody. So, of course, I'm not going to believe that the IDF is this completely pure army where nobody in there is doing any bad things. Of course, there are malicious people everywhere. But the whole situation here, that somebody would maliciously somehow target the corner of the church, it's just very implausible to me. It doesn't make sense. So I really want to know more about that. Siva Konlechaim says, Jews starting the Crusades without the Christians because the Christians haven't woken up yet. Jesus loves you so much says, have you seen all the comments on Economic Times video? I haven't checked on that. Economic Times. Whoa. 330,000 views. Jeez. That's nice. That's nice. My speech has 330,000 views, 329,000 views on the Economic Times. That is brutal, man. I'm glad to see that. It's reaching lots of people. Lots of people. A lot of people. Ex-Muslim here, this is 100% facts. Normalizing us, the ex-Muslims, is the way forward. Ex-Muslim here, 100% correct. I'm so glad I'm out of the dangerous cult. I am Pakistani ex-Muslim. This guy is banned in Malaysia. Help Ireland from this cult. Ex-Muslim here from Bangladesh. Wow, man. I absolutely love hearing the words ex-Muslim. I'm also ex-Muslim, 100% true. Ex-Muslim here, thank God for you. Wow, man, this is awesome. Wait a minute, I gotta like all of these. Gotta like all of these comments. This is beautiful. As an ex-Muslim from Bangladesh, I salute him because he is 100% true. Its freedom of speech is taken away, and then dumb and silent, powerful. Please listen to this man. Yeah, listen to this man, dear Westerners. This guy and David Wood are responsible for making me ex-Muslim in 2019. We got him. This man deserves protection. I'm an ex-Muslim from Iran. What he says is facts. Ex-Muslims are great and brave people. This guy is also known as apostate prophet. I agree with everything he said. At the end, Islam should be considered a cult, not a religion. says Maria. He was visibly nervous in the beginning, but then as he spoke, it's so funny. Can you actually see that, how nervous I was at the beginning? I represent myself and my state not them, and I even knows about it. Certain. So I don't have people actually here on YouTube. So I don't have people looking at me and giving dollars as a. Yeah, I was very nervous when I first went on stage, and it was pretty messed up, man. A little secret. So the day before I go on stage on Friday, the day that I recorded a podcast with Charlie Kirk, which is not out yet, I went into that room, into the hall for the first time, and there are like between 5,000 and 7,000 people. The largest group that I spoke in front of was like, I don't know, maybe 100 or something like that. I go from that to between 5,000 and 7,000 people. And I look at the stage, there's Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. There's Donald Trump Jr. There are all these massive people, and I'm nobody. I'm freaking nobody, man. I'm nobody. Nobody even knows who I am. And I'm supposed to speak here? I was shaking. I was dying that day. And I got so nervous that I actually thought maybe I should find an excuse and say I can't make it and I can't speak or something like that. That's actually what I thought for a little bit. Then I decided to relax. And the next morning I woke up and I was completely comfortable doing it. But I went on stage and I was still shaken. But once I went there, everything just came naturally. It was very, very nice. And then when I went off stage, my legs were shaking and I died. That's what happened. Why are you stuttering? Why are you stuttering? David, what's up, man?
Get the hell out of here!
Sorry, that was not for you. That was the wrong button. I was supposed to use this one.
Why stuttering?
Okay, good. But it worked out very well, and I'm so happy that I was able to deliver the message and spread it to so many people, and I hope we can do more of that. Because I think everybody should talk about Islam beautifully. As an Iranian, I have to say Islam is definitely not compatible with Iran either. Totalitarianism has many names. This is awesome, man. This is very, very awesome. 330,000 views. This is very, very, very good. Very good. Thank you. AP, you are awesome. Thank you. You are somebody, says Geraldine. Let the man say hi, please. Oh yeah, AP, you're a somebody. I know, I just said, see what I did? I played a trick here. I said I'm nobody because I wanted everyone to say that I am actually somebody. That's why I'm doing it. You got to learn. This is the trick. You got to learn from the most humble, man. You have to always downplay yourself and deliberately kind of, speak lowly of yourself so that everyone can start praising you. This is the trick. This is an awesome trick. Wait, by the way, AP the most humble. I forgot to change my name back. Okay, AP the most humble. So this is how the trick goes. You, when you talk about yourself, you always want to make sure that you speak very lowly of yourself. And then you will immediately see people start speaking highly of you, and then you get what you want. And you're like, and then they speak even more highly of you. It's awesome, man. It's awesome. That's how you make it as the most humble. Laura Loomer tweeted about it. Marco Rubio tweeted about it too. We'll check it out. Oh, about the things. Yeah, you should go on Laura Loomer's show. Does she have a show? Where does she have a show? Oh, she's on YouTube. Does she actually do stuff there? Last time she posted on YouTube was a year ago. Is she on Rumble? Probably on Rumble, isn't she? I don't know. Arctic Beast. I'm sure the Pope has lots of space in the Vatican. Powerful. JMG made a super chat. Thank you. Kamalos says the Pope during the Holocaust helped the Nazis and did not say anything about the suffering of the Jews and Christian pastors who spoke out against Hitler. Rome ignored Byzantine Orthodox pleas for help in the Balkans and Anatolia. Now, there is more nuance to this. The Vatican and the Pope did not make public statements in response to Nazi atrocities as they were ongoing. They did, however, employ a lot of behind-the-scenes help and also refused to collaborate with or refused to cooperate with the Nazis on demands nationwide, which is why the Nazis increasingly didn't like them and increasingly hated the Catholics. The Pope and the Vatican were very silent about the atrocities that were going on, even after they learned about them, for a specific reason, which is that they were aware that that the Nazis were brutally mistreating anyone who opposes them, including the Catholic clergy. So they were quietly, undercover, underground, communicating with Catholic clergy to try and help people and try to help Catholics as well, while trying to avoid outright overt statements condemning the Nazis. Because those were really tough times, man. It wasn't like Israel. With Israel, you can just say Israel needs to stop this, Israel would condemn this, and so on. You couldn't say that kind of stuff about the Nazis. They would take it out on the Catholic clergy. They already put Catholic clergy into concentration camps. They gassed them. They tortured them. They would have done much worse. So the Catholic Church also did a lot to help fleeing Jews and others without publicly saying anything. That said, there are some things that are true, such as that that there were some important clergymen in the Catholic Church that helped some of the Nazis escape, for example. But I wouldn't say that that was representative of the greater Catholic Church. Those were different incidents. So yeah, I would reject depicting the Vatican as indifferent or even, collaborators of the Nazis. I would say that's a very unfair statement. There is here the Catholic dude who was martyred by the Nazis, and he's remembered as a martyr in the Catholic Church. As for the Byzantine Orthodox, that's a whole different story. The protecting the Orthodox Christians was actually part of the mission of the First Crusades, for example. Later on, things got really, really messy between the two sides, but that's a long story now. Luke 465, y'all. Why don't the government of Muslim-majority countries unite to spread Islam across the world and take over the other countries? I don't know. They should. They should. They should. They should form a caliphate again and should spread Islam everywhere by force. That's what they should be doing, so that we can all be forcibly converted to Islam and can be slaughtered if we refuse. That would be very nice. Stephen J. Hanna became a YouTube member. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the cult. Skyscraper Philosopher. This seems to have started by a spiral of violence between Druze and Bedouins with tit for tat. No, it wasn't. Kidnappings, executions by both sides. No, it wasn't. That's an excuse. That's a big, big excuse. The Druze side did not start and did not do any of this. It was the Bedouin and Islamist side themselves who started it and who exaggerated things brutally. Brutally. We talked about this yesterday as well, but with the ending of the Civil War, which hasn't really ended, the Druze were expected to lay down their weapons and to basically submit to the authority of the Syrian Islamic government. The Druze have refused to do that and said, "No, we're good. We'll take care of our own. We'll take care of ourselves. We don't want to lay down our weapons. We don't want to hand over our weapons. We're gonna have our weapons. We're gonna protect ourselves here. We don't want to be at your mercy. No thanks." And it was when Assad was overthrown and the Druze were allowed into Israeli territory that the propaganda started getting out of control about the Druze, saying that the Druze are traitors, that they're collaborators of the Jews, of Israel, of the Zionists. that they hate Muslims, that they preach hate about Muslims and about Muhammad and about the Quran, that they are evil, that they need to be killed. Then there was an incident of harassment and of abduction of a Druze person, and the Druze fought back. When the Druze fought back, the Islamic side started using that as an excuse that the Druze are provoking them. And then they started spreading a fake message, a voice recording by a Druze clergyman who allegedly mocked Muhammad, which of course gave Islamists the excuse that Druze are enemies of Islam and need to be killed, and so on. So the Bedouin side and the Islamic side has been extremely dirty and messed up. And their rhetoric is very clear here in the videos that you can see about the conflict. They speak of killing the filthy pigs. That's what they call the Druze. Killing the mustaches. That's what they call the Druze, because Druze have mustaches. It's not a two sides thing. It's a massacre. Pope has said nothing about the Nigerian genocide. Well, he's busy, probably. I don't know. Also, who cares about Africans, you know? I know, after I made a stupid, sarcastic comment, as I drag it out and don't say anything, it gets worse and worse as the seconds pass by. But this is a big problem. Nobody talks about what's happening to Christians in Africa. Nobody talks about what happens to people in Africa. Nobody cares, apparently. Nigeria is one of the worst places where Islamists are killing Christians on a daily basis, brutally massacring them. And nobody is doing anything because apparently nobody cares about Africa. And it doesn't involve Jews. Maybe what we need to do is send some Jews over to Nigeria, put them in charge of things, put them in charge of some government functions, and you know what will happen? Boom! Suddenly everyone will talk about how people are oppressed in Nigeria. Easy solution, man. Easy solution. What other country? There are some other countries. Sudan. Nobody's talking about Sudan. Easy solution. Get some Jews, send them over to Sudan, put them in positions of power. Everybody's going to start talking about Sudan. Brilliant solution, man. I'm giving you great ideas right now. See? Can Israel make the expanded Golan Heights the temporary home for the Druze and Christians? That would shut up those who call Israel expansionist. Maybe they can. Maybe they can't. I don't know. Jog made a super chat. Thank you, Jog. Etorere Ange made a super chat. Thank you so much. You did so well. God bless from New Zealand. Thank you very, very much. Greetings to New Zealand. AP, I'm so proud of you. This reality is fleeting. We are all dying from the moment of birth. Standing up for Jews and the oppressed Christians is holy. Inshallah. Inshallah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Standing up for all those who are oppressed, except there are some people that I just really don't care about. Because I think there are enough of them around to take care of themselves. But I care about the Christians, the Jews, the Druze, and the non-Muslims who are oppressed. That's what I care about. Blue Moon. So you think Jesus' teaching is my building stones are more important than hostages and kids being used as shields? Isn't that Islam way of thinking? No, I don't think that Jesus' teaching is my building is more important. What I do think is that if we are speaking of a church, which obviously is led by Christian clergymen and filled with Christians who seek shelter there, I think that is a place where people should be safe from all kinds of harm. Now, to be very frank and very honest, I wouldn't say the same thing about a mosque in Gaza. I would, however, say the same thing about any kind of church. There are only 3 churches in Gaza, I believe. One is a Catholic church, one is an Orthodox church, and one is a Baptist Protestant church. I would say this about any of the churches. I think a church is off limits, not because it's a building, but because it's a sanctuary were Christian people of faith and where Christians who are mostly not Hamas supporters seek shelter. There's a fly in the bank. It's really annoying me right now. So it's not about the building, it's about the people. And I think if the church is involved in something, if the church is a target in this, I'm pretty sure that Israel doesn't have the necessity to actually target the church. I'm sorry, you can't convince me that this is necessary. There must be a different solution to it. So yeah, that would cross a line for me. It's not about the building. Blunt Pencils, AP New Author shirt, check Remembrance of Death. God bless you. New Author shirt? You mean my author shirt? I just have this on here. I got this as my as part of my new outfit for orthofarianism. Combining that with some Christian hat and some dreadlocks is going to be awesome with some reggae music, you know. Problem is Israel promoting Iran's interest in Syria with all this. A weak, fractured Syria hating Israel only benefits Iran. Big strategic L for Israel. No, I think Syria is supposed to be like this. There is no hope for Syria until Syria is split up into different countries. I think the solution would be to split Syria into different countries. At least 3. I can think of it. In fact, 4. Let's do this together. Let's do some drawing together. How about that? La 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 la. Who wants to draw? Let's draw some stuff. Let me find an empty map of Syria. All right. Drawing is so much fun. It's so much fun. All right. Now, let's draw something. It's going to be good, man. It's going to be real good. It's going to be real, real, real good. All right. Here we are. Here we have Syria. Okay. Now let's draw a little bit. I never use this stupid thing here. What is this markup? Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Can change colors here. Okay. So first off, this map is wrong because there's already one territory here, which is part of Israel. I went a little bit too far here. Here, this is the Golan Heights, which has been under Israeli control for what the hell? 60 years now? So this is already part of Israel and should just stay part of Israel. Okay, that's it. What is this, man? What are these stupid tools? I should have used GIMP. And by GIMP, I don't mean what Mohammed Hijab means. I mean the software GIMP, where you can draw. So this is Israel, okay? Second territory that should be independent. Here, this part here should be a separate country. This is going to be a country, separate, independent. It's going to be one that is for the Christians and the Druze. We can just call it CD from now on. So, oh yeah, this was in front of it. That's funny. So this is going to be a new country. Here you have one country. Now, another country to add is over here. This part should become its own country as well. Here you have minorities, including Alawite minorities. I think you also have some Christians here, and you have others that are usually controlling much of the coastal regions and living there. You should have these people live here. You can call it whatever you want. Maybe you can call it Northern Lebanon. Maybe we can call it something along those lines. I don't know. Then here's another country to have. You should take this whole chunk here. In fact, wait a minute. Hold on. Sorry. You should take this here. all of this should also become a separate country. This should be Kurdistan. Yes, I said it. I said what I said. This is Kurdistan from now on. I said it. I'm not taking anything back. This is Kurdistan. This will be Kurdistan from now on. I made the final decision. There is no going back on this. All right. Next. Now, one suggestion that comes to mind is to establish a demilitarized territory here, but I'm not a fan of demilitarized territories. I think there should always be militarized stuff. But I say that this region here should be the new Syria, the Islamic Syria here. There should be the Islamic Emirate of Syria. Maybe it could be called something else. And then we also have this remaining part left here. I think this should all be part of Israel. This is where it always goes. I don't know why, but this is where it always. This is what we always end up with, man. I don't know why this is happening, but whenever I start drawing maps, I think everything should become part of Israel. I don't know why. It seems to be just reasonable. So this is going to be part of Israel. Damascus is from now on going to be in Israel. This is going to be under Israeli control. In fact, this territory is left. We don't want to make it part of Islamic Syria, and we also don't want to make it part of Turkey. So I have another solution here. This part should become part of Israel. So this is going to be also part of Israel. Israel is going to take this over as well. Now, CD, the independent state of CD, can very well manage itself, but I think while they have some autonomy, it shouldn't necessarily be an independent state. It should actually be part of, you guessed it, Israel. So Israel should take this over and give this place autonomy so that they can be safe and be managed under Israel. Okay. If you think we're done, you're wrong. Now we have this territory here. While the Alawites and all the others might be safe here and might be separated from the Islamists, I think that the most safe thing to do would be to have Israel watch over this, so that to make sure that there is safety among these people. So I think this should also technically be part of Israel. It should be an autonomous Israeli territory. I don't know. I had no intention of giving everything to Israel. I was genuinely just thinking about the different territories in Syria. For some reason, I once again ended up giving everything to Israel, man. What's happening? Why is this always happens? This is so weird. I wasn't thinking of this at all. But anyway, since we started, why would we stop here? I think Israel should also make sure to not integrate this into Israel, but start taking care of this territory here and treating it as with Israeli authority, where Islamists can do whatever they want, but Israel watches over it. And finally, in order to protect the Kurds from Turkey here, I think Israel should take care of this territory as well, and it should become formally an autonomous region that is part of Israel. See? Eventually, the Islamists of Syria that are now in the remaining one part here should be given a chance to properly, coexist and make peace. If they can't do it, they should be peacefully relocated to a different area, which will eventually inevitably happen, and it should also become part of Israel. What the hell? What happened, man? I wanted to draw different countries. Now we ended up giving everything to Israel again. This completely derailed. Anyway, forget about all that. This is not going to work out. This always happens to me. Ayatollah Khamenei said Michael Lofton recently, Reason and Theology YouTube, came out in overt opposition to the state of Israel. He stated that Israel was founded on false ideologies and that the state is murderous. Sad. Who? I don't care. Cars in Dimension. The Vatican refused to return Jewish orphans to their families after the Holocaust, preferring them to be raised as Catholics. I don't know much about that. Can't speak on it. Arctic Base, I'd never make fun of the Pope. Ashmay says retired Israeli soldiers often go to Africa to help with counter-terror work to protect people there. That's very, very nice. Fickle not, the West won't wake up until they're persecuted. We are too comfortable people. And we want to prevent that from happening, which is why we want to talk to more and more people about this stuff. That's what we need to do. This is the a bit late. What did I miss? And here are some Norwegian shekels. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Knows too much. This is the fruits of Islam, evil to the core. I'm a Zionist and agree with you on 90% of issues, but please read renowned Syria expert Charles Lister thread with event timeline. Tons of disinformation going around. I have already read much about it from people who are directly in the fields, and yeah, the two-side story is nonsense. I'm sorry. To condemn Israel for damaging a church in an urban environment where jihadis are embedded is hypocritical, immoral BS. Check churches damaged in World War II or Mosul. Did they apologize to Pope for each one? Absurd. No, but in World War II, it was also it was a very, very different situation. Israel has the means to carry out very precise operations, and so far, during the 2 years of the ongoing war, the 3 churches in question have remained largely unharmed. The one damage that was done was when an adjacent building was smashed, and it caused collapse in the Orthodox church, which was over a year ago. And now the second damage we have is the corner of the Catholic Church. I think Israel can make sure to avoid these targets. It's not really the same situation. Knows too much. The Palestinians should be condemned for fighting in this manner, not Israel. Immoral hypocrites pushing for Israel to be in a forever war, resupply their enemies and reward jihadist tactics. I agree. And I think the world, and foremost the Christians who care so much about it, should work toward pressuring Hamas to, number 1, give up all hostages, number 2, lay down their weapons and surrender completely. Until then, this will continue. And I will express sadness and anger if something like this happens, but I will still think that it needs to continue. But I also think that Israel needs to make plans and lay them out for the future of this war and for the aftermath of it. Happy birthday to me. Free maple syrup for everyone, says E. Matthew. We don't care about your birthday, man. That's what David would say. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. What do you think of 2013 coup of the Egyptian government that took place? They toppled Mohammed Morsi. What would I think of it? They were the Muslim Brotherhood. They were a bunch of pervert Muslim Brotherhood bastards. 330,000 new people tuned in today after AP speech, and he deadpan says no one cares about Africa, then takes a never-ending swig from his canteen and later ends up drawing a map that looks like a dome. That's what happens here, man. Ash Mays, Catholics who saved my father's cousin in the Holocaust were part of a large-scale operation to return children to families after. See? You have a Jewish person talking about what the Catholic Church did for them. D. Boudreau, Syria needs to be divided with a British accent, innit? Where's the joke? Is there a joke here? Am I being dumb now? Maybe it's too late. Good to see you here, D. Paul, did you see the Congress report about U.S. aid and Israel? America funded $1 billion to anti-Bibi protests for 2 years and extreme left organizations. I saw Bibi talk about this. Didn't he make a post about it? He talked about this in Parliament as well. This is very funny. You have conspiracy theories all over the world talking about how Israel is controlling the world and they're controlling the United States of America and all that. And then what's actually happening in Israel right now is Netanyahu and his supporters talking about how the deep state and certain people are attacking the right-wing government of Israel. It's kind of funny to me. Most of these the conspiracy theories in the world, conspiracy theorists in the world, are completely unaware of actual conspiracies that are happening that Netanyahu, for example, is talking about. He's defending himself against what are described as attempts by our leftist governments to undermine Israel and also undermine Trump, for example. But some people think that he is in charge of everything. La 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 la. I love the voice effects Apostate Prophet. I know I have a device here which makes that sound. Dawa sound. Candace Owens. I saw a thing about, I don't want to look at Candace Owens. I don't care about Candace Owens. Freaking insane imbecile. Don't want to care about her right now. Maybe we'll talk about her in a few days. Maybe in a few days. Maybe we'll talk about her tomorrow or the next day. And maybe we will. Candace Owens recently just said that Israel controls the universe. She said Israel controls the universe, So maybe she's right. Maybe Israel does control the universe. I don't know. I guess she's trying to say Israel is God. I don't know. Maybe that's what she's trying to say. Israel is God. Israel is God. Israel controls the whole universe because Israel is God. And Laura Luma just reported that China had access to the Department of Defense through Microsoft. Good. Burn the world down. All right. Yeah, she said Israel controls the universe. That's what she said. Wait. Okay, let's have a look at it. Honestly, I was gonna jump off, but let's have a look at that for a second. Candace Owens. I'm just gonna search for Candace Owens universe. Let's see. Oh, there I have it. No, this is not it. This is not it. Candace Owens. What are the last things she said? Oh yeah, right here. Let's see. Let us see.
And that is what the Epstein story threatens. You pull the fabric there, and it implicates so many countries, and you realize that none of these characters are real. These characters are just being inserted into places to serve Israel. That makes Israel the master of the universe.
Whenever she says Israel, it's like, it's so annoying, man. Israel.
Are just being inserted into places to serve Israel. That makes Israel the master of the universe. And that's troubling. This is a state that has a hexagram on their flag. Okay, they're even lying about the history of the Star of David. It's a hexagram.
The history of the Star of David. They're not lying about the history of the Star of David. You know what the Star of David was on? The Star of David was on churches before it was on. Or not sure if it's before, but the Star of David, as we call it, isn't actually a star that goes back to David, to King David. It is a star associated with Jewish culture. Came to be associated with more commonly with a unifying Jewish symbol, which is why it's often used for Jews. Although some like religious circles will more likely use the menorah as a symbol to identify themselves because it's a more religiously accurate symbol. But the Star of David is a star that was it was also called the Star of Solomon. It was found in Muslim cultures. It was found in Christian cultures. It was found on churches. There are churches with the Star of David on them. And by that, they're not meaning to say that they're Jews or that Jews are in power. Let me see if I can find some here. While the Star of David is a primarily Jewish symbol, nowadays it has been featured on some church buildings. This is kind of funny. Here you have a iconography and such in a church with the Star of David. You have pictures of different churches with the Star of David. I mean, you can just freaking Google it, man. Here, Google churches with the Star of David. You'll find churches with the Star of David on them historically. You'll find old churches. You will find old designs with the Star of David on them.
Many churches feature ceilings painted with stars.
I didn't ask you, man. What's happening?
Including Sainte-Chapelle in Paris, Notre Dame Basilica in Montreal, Siena Cathedral, and the Church of Santa Maria Sopra Minerva in Rome.
Who even set this up? Why is my Google Assistant talking to me now? It's not an exclusively Jewish symbol. It came to be used with Jews after a while. It came to represent Jewish identity. It also has to do with a Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, and so on. She's going to try to connect this to some devil worship or something, which is so ludicrous. Anyway, she said that that Jews are the masters of the universe. So she's saying that she, for now on, worships Jews. That's good. It was also on the old Morocco flag. Oh yeah, it was also on an old Turkish flag, by the way, of a Turkish tribe, the Karamanolari. There was a Turkish tribe that had a before the Ottomans. Look at this. 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 The Karaman Emirate. They also had it. It very much looks like, with some modifications, it looks like the flag of Israel. Maybe Israel stole it from them. I don't know. Alhamdulillah. OMG, they're controlling everything. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna jump off. The so-called star is actually a shield. It's Magen David, not Kochav David. Shield of David. Yeah. Powerful. She realized there are no Jew gold and switched sides. Nice history lesson. AP unfortunately can't read. She can't read. She's completely dumb. It's like how the Turkic crescent became synonymous with Islam despite not being Islamic, like the Star of David being associated with Judaism. Kind of, yeah. Kind of. Anyway, don't want to talk more about insane people here. Asking everyone to amplify the voices of the Druze and the Christians in Syria. Pray for them. Spread the word. Do whatever. And that's it. I think we're going to be live tomorrow on David's channel. He's going to be back. We'll see everybody. Until then, stay safe, stay well, and as always, thanks for watching, everyone. As always,
stay away from Islam.
It's always good to be with you, everyone. See ya.